Always, it's no lose for him coming into this. You take a fight like that. The pressure's on your shoulders. You've had the full camp. People probably don't expect that much of him. Does that make him more dangerous?
In a way, yeah. In a way, I don't often think about it. I'm just preparing for what.
Where does he pose the biggest threat for you? What do you do to get
Hi Lear, how are you? Good to see you.
biggest thing.
Do you see any similarities between what is happening in Sweden and what is happening over in Ireland?
I can see the similarity with MMA going both in Ireland and Sweden. Big stars like showing.
how much have you looked at past fights?
Have you been here before?
No, actually, it's my first time. I can only say it's the great experience being here. The Irish people are very nice and welcoming. And it's going to be awesome fighting later on.
Because you're the European in this fight, he's the American. Do you think that they're going to root for you more?
Well, let's see. I think probably let's see if this happens.
What do you think of Conor McGregor and the interest that he's built up for himself in Irish MMA? He's not like Alex or if we're going to compare the two. He doesn't like to talk a lot. He's very different. He's very brash. Are you a fan of his?
I like Conor. He has a good personality. He's an entertainer, both in the octagon and outside. And he showed in his fights that he is a good fighter. In his future fights, he will probably show even more. He's developing his skills and getting more confident. Well, of course, it's a lot to live up to. I think that's a natural role for him. He's not playing something that's that kind of show. It's just natural. It's good. And the sport needs this.
Are you aware of the fact that your name has almost become a way to describe someone taking a fight on short notice? Like when Patrick Cummins took this fight against Dan Cormier, it was like, oh, he's the next Ilir Latifi. But you had a great performance. You stuck around for 3 rounds against Mousasi, took the fight on just days' notice, and that story continues to be talked about. Now you've settled into the UFC, you've had great performances, but you've become almost this legend of sorts, of a guy who took a fight on short notice and was able to go the distance and one of the best.
I mean, every time I do an interview, this fight comes always up, how much did you cut and how did it feel and everything. Like I said, it was one of the hardest challenges I did in my life because it was tough circumstances. But it's part of history. Would I have done it again? Of course. It was a tough challenge, but tough challenges can lead to great things, to great possibilities.
Good luck.
It did that for me too.
It almost feels like more people remember and talk about that fight a loss than they do the win.
Probably people remember it more because it was a main event too, and in a way, yes, people remember. But I think all the circumstances make it more interesting too. How the opportunity came and how I took the fight and what I did to be able to.
Hey, can you clear something up? Was this fight 205 or 185?
205.
Was it originally 185?
No.
It was never. That was a mistake. Okay, so you're sticking at 205.
I'm still too heavy.
Your last fight though was 185, was it not? It was 205.
I always fight.
So where did that come from? Are they trying to force you to go down?
Then they gotta cut off a leg. Maybe I have thick bones or something, but I'm too heavy. I struggle a lot going down to 205 and 185. It's not for me, I'm not really for this thing that fighters cover too much weight because it's not good for them. I think a lot of fighters don't fight better when they cut so much because they lose their strength or something on the speed. But for some fighters, it works. Overall, I don't think that's the best.
One last thing for me. Are you going to stick around longer in Ireland after the fight?
Well, we'll see. I'll probably hang out a couple of days, see some of the Irish traditions and history. I love the country over here. The people are very, very, very nice. Probably not stay a couple of days.
Thank you.
Old Irish traditions, does that mean Guinness?
Guinness.
We could just play it over.
Guinness, yeah. And play the racket sport. What's the name?
Hurling.
Hurling. I want to buy one of these. Where can I buy them?
I'll buy you.
Can you buy one?
There you go.
I'll give you cash.
200 euro.
Sorry,
So
man.
Ilya, sorry, I missed what I
Sorry, Ilya.
earlier on. Your opponent, Chris Dempsey, he's taking a fight in 2 weeks' notice. He's coming up from 185 to 205. You're a big heavyweight, or a big light heavyweight. You put a lot of weight to get down to 205, as you mentioned there a second ago. Is this your fight to throw away? And this is
You can never take any fights for granted. He goes in with not as much expectation. Every fight you have to prepare, because a fight is a fight. You always want punch from winning or losing. So there's nothing that I take as an easier fight just because if I at 185.
And how's your game plan changed going into this fight? 2 weeks' notice, you prepare for Tom Lawler. Do you have to do a lot of mixing things up and differently, or do you focus on yourself instead of your opponent going into your bets?
I focus on what I have to do. I don't do major changes in my game. I'm just trying to focus on my show.
And the fight against Cyril, you got to implement more of your wrestling style, and wrestling base, and that fight ultimately you got a submission victory against Cyril. Is that something you're going to look to in this fight? You can see this being a grappling match because Chris is a wrestler also.
Well, let's see how the fight develops. You never know where you take it. If we wrestle, we wrestle. If we're gonna slug, we're gonna slug.
And Chris revealed to me as well, I was speaking to him a few minutes ago, that he's Irish heritage, he's a Celtic tattoo on his back. You could become the villain now on Saturday night coming out to the arena. Is there anything you have to prepare psychologically? Because we know it's going to be like a Brazilian crowd, the Irish crowd's on pound for pound. I think Dana's mentioned the best in the world. So, walking out on fight night, how do you feel? What's that going to be like?
It's gonna be, an experience fighting with such an amazing crowd that supports our fighters, and hopefully I'll have a whole lot of supporters too.
Definitely, I'm sure there'll be some Swedes over here to support you guys.
Swede and Irish,
Ilya, listen, best of luck on Saturday night. Do appreciate the fun.